Good afternoon, family. Thank you for checking out today's video. If you're new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of achieving a healthy weight. If you do enjoy my video, make sure that you click on the bell. I'm sorry. If you do enjoy my videos, make sure that you get subscribed to the channel. Also, click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live, which is usually weekdays at 4 p.m. If you'd like to join me in on that live discussion, you're more than welcome to. I'm saying everything backwards today. So, anyways, also, if you'd like to reach out to me, we created a Discord channel. That link for that is down in the description below. Also, down in the description below, there is a link to our Pinterest board. That's a great place for you guys to get some ideas of what we're eating, or if you're looking for healthy alternatives, that's a great place to look for those things. Today is day 514 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. I've used a combination of water fasting and a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet to lose over 210 pounds. I am almost halfway through the challenge. I'm about 21 months in, or I'm sorry, wrong. I'm about 17 months in, which means I have about 19 more months to go. Tomorrow will actually kind of be right at that 17-month mark, I believe. So far, I have been able to lose over 200 pounds, like I said, and I'm hoping to get rid of the rest of the weight this year so that I can maintain this weight loss through 2023. Go ahead and switch over to the main page. A bit distracted today, I guess, or disoriented. I don't know what it is, but I'm here and I don't know. Great. I'm doing wonderful. How's everybody else doing? How are you doing today? I'd love to hear how you guys are doing. How, if anybody has any non-scale victories, if you are working on losing weight yourself, how are you doing so far? You know, if you've fallen off track, what are you doing to get back on track? And what are you doing to make your diet easier than the alternative? So since yesterday, it was a bit of a boring evening. I had to fend for myself for dinner. And generally, when I'm cooking my own food, I keep it fairly simple. Um, I mentioned a little bit yesterday, I had been looking forward to eating some shredded wheat with almond milk and raisins. It's been a little while since I've had that. We used to buy a product from Walmart called West Soy. I love it. I really enjoy that soy milk, but they haven't had it in stock for a while. So Carrie decided to, hey, Anthony's checking in saying hello. Hello, Anthony. I hope everything's going great for you. Um, Carrie decided to do a little house on the prairie and started making our own almond milk. She's been using almond flour, I believe, to make the almond milk. So last night, that was kind of the first course of my dinner, was having some shredded wheat with almond milk and raisins. Carrie's checking in saying hello. Hi, Carrie. Hope everything's going great. Um, and the first half of the bowl was amazing. It was wonderful. And then all of the alarms on my stove, I had a stove going and we have like this Breville air fryer. It's like a little stove as well. All the alarms went off because I was cooking food for the kids. They had tater tots and chicken patties, vegan chicken patties for dinner. So they had a super healthy dinner as well, I suppose. They really love those tater tots. So, uh, Carrie says she doesn't even recognize herself these days. Yeah, she's a little Laura Ingalls Wilder from Little House on the Prairie. She's making her own sourdough bread, making her own almond milk, going back to scratch cooking, which is something that I would highly recommend people work towards getting back and getting closer to that scratch cooking. But last night we had I had started my bowl of shredded wheat, and then I got distracted because all the kids' food started getting ready to go. So I got up and I started getting everything. Um, uh, Carrie says that mom was going out of the house. Mom was not home last night, and that's why the kids had a bunch of junk. Right? Not that they don't eat that junk food every other day of the week. Um, So yeah, I got distracted, put their chicken sandwiches together, got their tater tots, got them all plates together, got them all rounded up because, they're in their devices or they're throughout the house doing different stuff. And when I went back to go eat my shredded wheat, um, there was no liquid left in the bowl. All of the shredded wheat had soaked up 100% of the almond milk, and it got pretty soggy. So the second half of the bowl ended up making its way to the garbage can last night. But I did enjoy the first half of that bowl. The other things I had last night were some baked potatoes. Carrie again made some barbecue sauce that she made herself, and I believe she used dates to sweeten it. She'll probably correct me here. But I took actually 4 baked potatoes, and they weren't very big, but white baked potatoes, and I mashed them up in a bowl. I mixed in the barbecue sauce with that, and it was really good. The flavor that I was getting, or kind of what it reminded me of uh, throughout the process, was just like the honey mesquite barbecue chips from Lay's. Like, it tasted really similar to that. It wasn't like a super strong barbecue flavor, but it was a nice flavor, and it was very sweet. Carrie says it was sweetened with dates. And I really enjoyed it. So I made like this mashed potato mix with this barbecue sauce, and I would recommend, if Carrie hasn't shared that recipe for barbecue sauce, that you should share it and you should try it out, because it's definitely going to be something that I eat in the future. I don't think that I have to worry about it being too many calories, but what you run into with sauces and things like that is that the sauce itself might not be high calorie, and salt is the same way. But when you add that sauce to a food, it makes the food that has the calories more enjoyable. And so then you end up eating a higher volume of that food. If I were to just have plain white potatoes with no salt or seasoning, and this without this barbecue sauce, I might have ate 1 or 2 of the potatoes. But because I had this sauce that made it more appealing, I was able to eat more of the food. Again, with my diet, I am not too worried about overeating. The only thing that I would say that I overeat that has a higher calorie count is the Ezekiel bread with the nut butter, but it hasn't really caused me any consequences so far as not losing weight. And so I am going to keep it in my diet as long as I can. If I get to a point where I lose 50 more pounds and I get to a plateau again and I can't break through, then maybe getting rid of that nut butter is going to be what I need to do to get through that plateau. But for now, having a few slices of Ezekiel bread with nut butter on it really is my kind of go-to satisfying meal. Like, it's, I just want to put food in my gut and be happy with what I'm eating. I make some Ezekiel bread. I grab a big glass of water because the water helps it go down, and that's kind of what I have as a meal. And so I believe I had Ezekiel bread last night, kind of when the shredded wheat fell through as well, and then I had the baked potatoes with the barbecue sauce. So I didn't really go crazy overall with food last night, and that's kind of because I was feeling, I didn't feel like making something real fancy, and I still haven't learned how to cook a lot of the things that we enjoy. I could bake potatoes in the Instapot, or I could cook them in the microwave. That's easy to do. But making something Like our miso, I've tried to make the miso and I failed at it miserably, mostly because I used the wrong recipe. But it was frustrating. And that's a tough part about this diet. And I've talked about that a lot in the past is that when you switch to a whole food plant-based salt, oil, sugar-free diet, every single thing that you knew about cooking and that you had, everything that you had learned or had trained over the years. Carrie's getting out of here for now. All right. Have a good rest of the day. I'll be home. What are we having for dinner? Maybe you can throw that out there before that starts. But um the it actually doesn't matter what we're having for dinner. Uh I got talking about the calorie density of the food. Is that where I was? I don't remember what I was even talking about. I am just scatterbrained today, folks. Um, but yeah, not Ezekiel bread and just kind of what I had for dinner last night. This morning, I had Ezekiel bread for breakfast. That's all I had for breakfast this morning. I was a little bit worried about um my weight. I ate a lot this weekend. I always feel like I eat a lot this weekend. I always come in Monday and say, man, I ate so much this weekend. I'm really disappointed with the scale. And then come Wednesday, I end up having a loss. And I'm hoping to still pull off a loss this week, but it's going to be a little difficult. I really set myself up to have a difficult week. And that is something that you have to worry about when you are weighing in every day. You have to remove the emotion from the number on the scale. The scale is just a tool by which I can gauge my progress. I can't allow the scale to frustrate me or cause me any anguish. So I can't use, I guess I would say that you can't let it affect you negatively, but you need to be excited about when you have successes on the scale. It's a funny thing that it just made me think of. I had a high school wrestling coach that would, he lectured me one time about my attitude after a wrestling match. And because he got frustrated with me because I had lost the match and I he just it was I didn't plan on talking about it, so it's a bit off. But yeah, I remember I had lost a match. Maybe I'd lost a couple matches throughout a recent, the recent period at the time when he came up and talked to me and he goes, he's like, I just don't understand how you don't get frustrated when you lose. He's like, you are the most excited person on the mat when you win a match. But then when you lose a match, you just walk away and you don't have that same negative emotion to match that positive emotion that you had when you win. And I guess you got to take that attitude to the scale. Like I said, especially if you're going to weigh in every day. When you have the successes, you be happy about it, you celebrate it. But then when you have setbacks or the scale doesn't show you what you want to see, you have to just let it go. You can look at the past 24 hours or what you did in the past few days and gauge what you need to do for the future, but you can't let emotion drive you when you have that negative because it's going to cause you to do things that are have the potential to snowball and cause you to fail. Because if I looked at the scale and saw that I wasn't going to lose weight or if I gained weight since yesterday and that got me frustrated, and so then I decide, I'm going to cut out a bunch of stuff, or I'm going to go on a real strict diet for a while, or I'm going to stop getting on the scale. And so uh you go on this strict diet for a long time to try to get the scale to do what you want it to do, and then it causes you to binge because you get to a point where you can't handle eating in that moderate form anymore, and or you just throw it away. Just it's sort of like that ego trap I talked about. Is try to be perfect with everything, and if you aren't perfect and the scale shows that you weren't perfect, then you say, it's easier to just quit than to even try anymore. And you can't let the scale have that kind of effect on you. You need to allow yourself to get over that it's like I said, I don't think of the scale as an emotional thing. It's a tool to gauge how well I'm doing. My goal is to have scale go down every day. I know it's not likely that that's going to happen, but as long as I am keeping the trend in that direction, that makes me happy. So, even for the 6 months here that I had been plateaued or kind of hovering around that 320 mark, um, I never let it get me down. It was a bit frustrating, but I knew that as long as I stuck to the plan, that the plan was going to work, because I'm not the first person to do this. I don't know any specific examples, but I'm sure that there are people that have changed their life. They've done it slowly, and they've done it by eating a whole food plant-based diet without any added salt, oil, or sugar. So I'm not paving a new road. I'm just making this road. I'm just traveling the one that I'm on. So, it's like I said, I'm all over the place. Gonna talk. So the title of the today's stream is avoiding the dietary excess, and what that is like. I think that we all know that when you're eating too much and when it's in excess. And if you are in a position like I was, where you're 519 pounds, you get to a point where you look like this guy here, uh, this way, this guy here. Um, I was eating in very excess. Everything that I ate was in excess, and the food, right now, the item that I say that I eat the most of in excess of is fiber. And your body doesn't use fiber. It's just like a filler. And so but when I was eating before, I was eating lots of fat, lots of carbohydrates, lots of proteins, and lots of minerals too, lots of different things in these foods that over time they build up in your body. And your body is like a factory or like a recycle center where you bring inputs into that factory, and your body has to take the time to filter things out and to process things. And there are lots of things in the food that your body wants to use. And when you're eating really high calorie foods, it's going to use the glycogen from the carbohydrates first, but then all that fat that you have with that food that it doesn't need, it's got people in that factory that are designed to take that fat and store it. And then you got all of this built up extra stored fat throughout your body, and it causes a multitude of diseases that are becoming so common these days. You get, just like they talk about having, like fatty liver disease or atherosclerosis, and um just I don't know. There's all kinds of like the top 14 of the top 15 reasons why people die. If you read the book How Not to Diet by Michael Greger, those things happen because of dietary excess. It's the 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 idea that we have that if we eat a high protein diet, or if we eat a diet that is low fat, or a diet that's no sugar, that we're going to get healthy. And those things can help. If you cut out all of the junk food and just ate a diet like a not a diet that I would eat or recommend, but like a carnivore diet, you're going to see results from that. And like I with the diet I ate, the whole food plant-based SOS free diet, I'm seeing results from the changes because I got rid of all of the excess materials and all of the excess stuff that my body was spending so much time and so much effort in processing. And it's really been quite a change now that I don't have all this excess minerals and excess uh, nutrients coming into my body. Um, and it's really something where we have to find that middle ground. You want to be eating a good large amount of food, but you don't want to be eating that huge amount of food and have an overabundance of protein and an overabundance of fat and an overabundance of carbohydrates that your body ends up trying to store and trying to use when it's busy doing lots of other things. I talk about it before, is like the liver and the kidneys, they are working all the time. And the way I used to eat, I was putting them into overtime and overdrive and just forcing so much food to be processed through my body that there's little chance that it was able to do it efficiently and do it well. When you have a pileup of things, work to do, you don't necessarily spend as much time on the current project, because you're all worried about this work that's coming in. So you hurry through, and your body's the same way. It hurries through to try to process these things. Um, and it causes these diseases that we develop over time. And I'm amazed that I was able to get to a point where I was 38 years old and I was 519.8 pounds, and I didn't have more serious consequences. I was lucky to avoid ever being diagnosed with diabetes or hypertension or having, something like a stroke. It would have been very likely, especially with my sleep apnea. Those things um, are very easy to happen. So, like I said, we have to realize that we have to give our bodies a chance to process what we are bringing in, and we cannot keep overloading it with constantly bringing in this junk food, um, because will not won't handle it. It just breaks down. It causes issues. It's what causes cancers and things like that. So we really have to avoid the dietary excess um, that we're so used to. Like I never thought about. I knew that the food I was eating wasn't healthy, but I never really thought about how much. I always kind of was like, well, my body will just take from it what it wants, and then I'll get rid of the rest in the toilet. And it doesn't quite work like that. Your body doesn't get to not touch that. Like it's got there's stuff that comes through your system that your kidneys and your livers are going to process, and they have to process. And as long as you keep pushing those things in, it's going to keep damaging those parts of your body. And so I'm so happy that I have now a diet where I'm not bringing in an excess number of calories and an excess number of these minerals. And also there's other things that build up too, like uh mercury and iron and things like that. You can get overloaded with too many of those things because you're eating so much food, and your body isn't able to flush those out very easily. They're the big things that build up um time. So really, you just got to give your body a chance. If you can take a break from eating for a little while, do a fast for a short period of time, and then use that time to do an actual reset. So many times I feel like people are planning on using fast to lose weight, and I have to admit I kind of was the same way when I started this channel. Like, I'm going to start with the big fast, and then I'll change my diet somewhat or do something to change my diet, but then I'll just fast again and lose more weight and then and my mentality about fasting changed a lot. It really has. Like, I love fasting. I love um the benefits of it, and I love the power that I gained because I used it to show ultimate control over my appetite and my diet. And so you guys just need to really work on making sure that what you put in your body is clean so that your body doesn't have to work so hard to process it. And if you give your body a rest and a chance to get through what's in there, it really will do a lot to benefit you in the long run. The last thing, I'm kind of excited to start a book that Carrie uh picked up for Audible that I was on the fence about whether or not to get it, and then Carrie kind of pushed me to might as well listen to it because it's been a few weeks since I've listened to a book, and um I was thinking about it actually on the way in today because I listened to a Spotify channel on my phone, and it gets pretty repetitive to listen to the same music channel on that. So I'm excited to start the new book, and it is called This is Vegan Propaganda, and it's written by Ed Winters, I believe is his name. I haven't had a chance to listen to any of it yet. I just downloaded it onto my phone, so I'm going to be listening to it on my way home. I have watched a lot of videos from Ed Winters in the past few months because he's been promoting this book and because I am I'm adapting a much more vegan lifestyle. And there's a lot of confusion that happens with the word vegan and plant-based and really environmental and environmental. I don't even know. It's weird because in the diet world, you can call yourself plant-based, and that means you don't eat any animal products. Well, it doesn't to everybody, but to me, to say you're plant-based uh, is to say that you're free of animal products. Then there's vegan, which is about the animals, and that is not so much about health. I think that where people get confused is that there's a lot of vegans out there that if you, even if it wasn't the healthiest diet, and a lot of vegans don't eat the healthiest diet, they would still be vegan because they do it for animal welfare uh and not for their own personal health or for the environment. And then I don't know what you would call somebody who is vegan for the environment. There's people that don't eat animal products because they see what the animal agriculture industry is doing to our planet. So they're choosing to abstain from eating animal products because of the forests that are being cut down to make larger crop area for animals to live on, and the CO2 emissions or the methane emissions that happen because of these factory farms, or really just because we keep billions of land animals alive every year just so we can kill them and eat them. There's people that don't eat animal products for that reason. But for me, I don't eat animal products because I find that it's been the best diet for me. It's allowed me to eat full, large portions of food, to be satisfied with my food, and to lose weight or get closer to that healthy weight I'm trying to reach. But one of the things that has become a consequence of that is that I have gone, this is, I guess, early on, but when this started, but after I was able to go a couple months, I'd lost over 100 pounds at that point, probably close to 120 pounds within the first few months of doing this. And then I kind of look back at the past few months and realize that I was able to lose this weight and to stay healthy without eating any animal products. And if that is the case, if I'm able to survive without eating animal products, then why do I choose to eat animal products going forward? Because really, a lot of what happens in the animal agriculture industry is not um, it's not pretty. I mean, it's so not pretty that it's illegal for somebody to go in and film what's going on inside of these slaughterhouses where they kill animals. which is crazy to think about. Like, there's not many industries where it would be illegal to film what that industry is doing. Like the people that make soda, the people that make Coca-Cola, they don't have any problem letting people come in and film the process of them making Coca-Cola from start to finish. Um, but if you wanted to go to a slaughterhouse to see how they make your meat from start to finish, they're not going to let you do that. Um, they would maybe let you see the end product, as they package it, but they're not going to let you onto the kill floor to see that. And so, anyways, I, over the past 16, 17 months, have started to develop a more vegan mindset about things. And it has helped me continue on with this weight loss challenge because it keeps me motivated to stay on my diet. Uh, because I'm doing it for myself. I mean, it's 100%. I'm doing this to lose weight and to get down to a healthy weight. And so that's my main driver. But if I can do it without adding to the suffering of animals, then I think that that's a plus. I don't see that there's downside to that. Um, and uh, I've made choices over the past few months that, when I bought my last pair of shoes, I made sure that there was no leather in the shoes that I bought. I replaced my blanket from a down comforter to a uh, different material, I guess, cotton, I guess. And just trying to eliminate them slowly, but I still have a leather wallet that I've had for years and years. I mean, it's worn out, but I feel I feel weird throwing that out, I guess, too. And then things like leather belts, and who knows, I guess, how much genuine real leather these things are made out of. I don't know if it's stamped somewhere on it, where it would say. Um, Yeah, it says genuine leather. So I guess it's one of those things where I am trying to become more vegan, I guess, in my mindset, but it's been a slow process of learning things too, because you don't realize how much there is in this world that is got animal products in it. I mean, something as simple as the sugar that you get, the white sugar, they use bone char to help uh make it white. I'm not exactly sure how it works, if it not, but it's uh what else? Rubber, I think, is something like the rubber in the tires of your car. It's nearly impossible, or they have some sort of animal product in them. Um, and then really just in life in general, it's tough, like they do anytime you take a pill, uh, that pill was tested on animals, more than likely. There's a few that maybe weren't, like aspirin or something that existed before animal testing was a thing, but um, a lot of the government requires people to do animal testing, I think, for a lot of these things in order to release the product. So it's hard to avoid in 100% of your life, but it's not about being perfect. It's about being as good as you can. Like if I was on a deserted island and there was nothing on the island, no food or anything other than an animal, I'm going to choose to eat the animal instead of dying. But we don't live in that environment now. We live in an environment where we're surrounded by all kinds of food and we don't have to choose to eat animal products. So I'm interested in listening to this book. I don't know that it's going to have, it's not going to have any, I don't know it's going to have anything I don't kind of already know or I haven't already seen. And if you are looking to if you're eating a plant-based diet and you're trying to strengthen your resolve to eat a plant-based diet, reading something like this is Propaganda by Ed Winters, hopefully a way to kind of push that. I'll find out. But there's a lot of movies out there too. There was a new one that just came out called Milked that talks about the dairy industry in New Zealand. And I don't know that, kind of funny because that talks a lot about the harm. I think it's a lot about environment though, like what that movie is about. But and then also there's like a movie called Dominion, which you have to be ready to see some death because that's got the actual videos from the slaughterhouses and the stuff that it's illegal to film. They have it in that movie, and you see why it's illegal. I mean, there's nothing pretty in that movie. I mean, it's constantly animals dying. But there's a lot of things too that I didn't realize before I started this. I never thought about the fact that there's no room for male chickens in the chicken industry. So as soon as they're born, they kill them right away. And then they turn their bodies into dog and cat food, or they filler for other food. Who knows what they do? But they just take these baby chicks and they breed them to be one color if they're male and one color if they're female. They can't decide, they can't get that figured out till after the chickens are born. They don't know if they're going to be male chickens or female chickens when they're in the egg, but once they're born, then they can see the difference between the males and the females. So they pull the males out, put them into a macerator, which is like a large blender. Um, and the female chickens are then sent off to where they're supposed to go to grow up big and either be egg laying hens and produce for our egg industry, or to be rotisserie chickens that you buy at the grocery store, where they get fattened up and they are been genetically bred to be to get larger than their legs can handle. And it's wild what happens. But I never thought of the fact that all of the male chickens have to just die. So 50% of the chickens that are born are just killed, like, for because they're useless to the chicken industry. Kind of the same thing happens with cows. I was kind of surprised how many times I've heard this. I guess maybe it was from that milk documentary recently, but like the number of people that don't put together that a cow cannot produce milk unless it's given birth to a baby. In fact, one of the things, there was a guy talking to somebody who was that worked at or that was going to an agricultural college, and one of the students had come up to him and said that our professor told us that the cows enjoy being milked. The cows like getting milked. They line up so they can get milked, and it's because they've been bred to a point where they produce more milk than their bodies are supposed to be producing. So they want to get that milk out. If you've ever um, been with some, like my wife, she breastfed, and if she didn't get the milk out, it would cause pain. Like you have this pain that you want to get that out of you. And these cows have been bred to produce way more milk than they were ever designed to produce. But the thing that student didn't realize was that, yeah, those cows line up and they want to be milked. They want to get that milk out of them, but they wouldn't have that milk if they hadn't have been pregnant and given birth to a baby and then had that baby removed from them. Because if the baby was around, then it would be drinking the milk, but the baby's removed, so there's nobody to drink that milk. So they line up at the machine so that it gets sucked out of them. And cows get, so they have to become pregnant to produce milk. We have to take the babies away so that the babies don't eat their milk. And male dairy cows are not as male dairy cows aren't needed. They don't need them. They don't. And so they generally are what you're going to eat for like veal and things like that, or they just kill them. And I don't know. I'm sure that they use their body for something, probably dog food, but again, these are all things I didn't realize, a cow wouldn't need to be milked if it never got pregnant. And then one of the things that's really kind of heartbreaking and all of it is too is that these animals are all babies when we kill them. They're just barely to adult weight. It would be like if we allowed our kids to grow up to be 18 years old and then kill them just to get to the full adult size or weight, like just as big as you're going to get, and then they get eliminated. And so, chickens are less than a year old. Pigs are, I don't know, they're less than a couple years old when they're killed. Cows are the same way. Um, they don't have these long lives. And then these dairy cows that we have to artificially inseminate to make them pregnant and then take their babies away. And then they produce milk for a few months, but then we have to impregnate them again so that they will have another baby so that they will produce more milk. And they do that as fast as they can because they want that cow producing milk. Because if it's not producing milk, it's just costing them money to keep it alive. And so after a cow has 3 or 4 babies, it can't handle it anymore. It has no nutrients left in its body because they've all been sucked out through their udders. Like I had seen a photo the other day that made me kind of realize like it was an image of a dairy cow, and they're big. Dairy cows are very big animals, but it didn't look fat. Like when you think of a cow, you think of a big fat cow, but these dairy cows, they're not big fat animals because all of the nutrients that they're bringing into their body are being sucked out and they don't have excess nutrients. They aren't eating, they may be eating a huge volume of food, but they're not able to enough food to get fat. There's not overweight animals on farms because or like on a milk farm or egg laying hens or even worse too. An animal that's designed to have 12 eggs a year and they're producing 250 to 300 a year, gonna have consequences. Anyways, I've rambled on about veganism a lot here. So I'm interested in checking out the book, and if you're thinking about going on a plant-based diet and you need that additional push, then maybe look into some of these things, some of those movies, and realize that it's a pretty cruel world out there if you are an animal in the animal agriculture industry. So I'm gonna get out of here today. I got weigh-in Wednesday tomorrow. I don't know. I really set myself up last week to have a not a great weigh in tomorrow because I I didn't weigh until Thursday. I had fasted for 56 hours prior to that weigh in. So it's going to be difficult to continue with the 2 pound weight loss this week. I won't probably eat much tonight or tomorrow before the weigh in, but hopefully I see a loss. But I'm going to get out of here, guys. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, get subscribed to the channel. Click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live. Discord in the link below, Pinterest down below. There's also a link to a video that I did with the Center for Nutrition Studies that they asked me some questions about my plant-based diet, that if you guys get a chance to check that out, I would love that if you check that out and give that video a thumbs up. Comment on that one as well. If you haven't started your diet yet, get started right now. No reason to wait. Not any reason to wait. There's nothing coming up in the next 10 minutes, in the next week. It's more important than getting your health wellness under control. I know it can seem like a crazy thing to do, and I, I know it's been weighing on your mind. You haven't started, uh, but when you get to the goal, you're not going to look back and wish you would have waited. Everybody looks back and says, I wish I would have started sooner. So get started now. Don't fall for the myths of moderation, myth of moderate change. Some people do it, but I think that if you're going to change completely anyways, you might as well get changed. You might as well just completely change right away instead of holding on to those addictions and holding on to those uh, things that you think you have to have because, uh, you know, going to get in the way of your success. And then the myth of moderate consumption, the idea that you could eat less food and be happy and be satisfied. Oh, I know your problem. You just eat too much. Well, it's, yeah, sure. But you're going to have me fight myself my whole life. Like you're going to constantly run into issues if you try to eat moderately. You need to change the calorie density of the food that you're eating. So I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Thanks for checking out my stream, Anthony. I hope you have a great day. Carrie, everybody that comments, thank you so much. I will be back on tomorrow.